If you, as you're going along with your gun, the fan on your gun, if you stop, that's a dry edge. You end up with a dry edge. You've got to keep moving on. The worst bit is when you get down to the underneath. You've got to try and keep that wet as well. So you've got to keep moving. One of the good properties of the paint is the fact that it is quite a slow drying paint, and it's easy to keep a wet edge.
Excellent. Well, you can see she's looking at the business now. I've got a few more jobs to do to her, but if you've watched this series throughout, you'll know that I've been learning to fly, and later in the programme you will see my test. Oh yes, the final stage in me getting my private pilot's licence. But for now, take a look at a recap of my flying lessons, the ups, the downs, and all those landings where it went ka-boing, boing, 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 boing.
First take-off, Captain.
I can't believe it.
I cannot believe it. What a feeling.
We estimate you've got about 45 hours dual training in the air. You've got about 120 hours ground school to complete and 6 civil aviation examinations.
Looking down the end of the runway, keep it straight with your feet. Ramping in at the speed, back to the runway.
I took off all on my own. I can't believe it.
This is one of the most brilliant experiences I have ever had. You can tell that learning to fly is now getting a bit more technical because I've had to find a desk, a notepad. I'm about a third of the way through my textbook and I've had to get all these other bits and pieces, including a clipboard, very important.
Today we're going to look at stalling.
Stalling. I don't like the sound of that at all.
Scary stuff.
And I've got nose up, decreasing airspeed, decreasing engine sound. Got the warning. Ignore that. Okay. So we've got the buffeting, and then drop the nose to recover, and then power. Since learning to fly, everybody I know who's had anything to do with flying, they all talk about the circuit, how many times you've been around the circuit. And until then, a circuit to me was something you drove a racing car around.
Sensibly, we need to be doing this around about 6 or 7 times just to be able to get you into the mode. Right, Mark. It's a bit embarrassing, actually.
No.
Yeah.
I do find this very difficult, this subject.
Well, obviously, because you managed to get one wrong, so well done, sir.
Just one?
Just one, yeah.
Yes! Yes!
Yeah, I'd taxi and Briar Alpha, do Alpha 2 for crew change. Got the student out of the first solo. Clear for takeoff, X-ray Bravo. X-ray Bravo, fine.
Not bad at all.
I did it, I can't believe I did it. I landed it.
I can fly!
Yeah, an aviation sir.
Yes! And you do know that when you start to fly, you have to be able to understand this kind of thing. It's like no map you've ever seen. Welcome to the wonderful world of navigation.
We need to establish our track now. We're going to do that using our navigation computer, which is basically a circular slide rule.
Oh no, no!
Where are we then?
Oh God, where are we?
Gloucester
Tower, good afternoon. Golf Bravo, Romeo Bravo, Bravo, radio check and request taxi. Information Tango received, QFE 1015 set.
The language is quite daunting. It sounds completely alien to most people when they first hear it and have to use it. But the idea behind RT is to communicate with the tower and communicate using the minimum amount of time on the airwaves. So transposing information from tower to aircraft back to controller precisely without error and taking up the minimum amount of time that we can.
The cogs are turning because I'm thinking about the next and most important part of my flying career, which is my qualifying cross-country. I have to fly around 150 nautical miles or more and land at 2 other airports on my own. It's a very, very big challenge. I've been worrying about it for weeks.
Don't ask. Mark, how did it go? Congratulations.
I have never felt so tired in my life.
55, control column fully back, full left aileron, and there we go, into the spin. Looking through the spin, checking with the turn coordinator, we can see the direction of spin, going to recover now. So control column forward, bit of right rudder, and gently pull out of the ensuing dive.
Welcome back, that was fun, wasn't it? But will I pass my test? You'll find out in part 2. Now, this is the engine cowling and I've got to fit it. Here we go. That goes on like that. Let's pop it over there. Right, that's that sorted. There is one more job in terms of the body kit that needs to go on, and it's these fantastic bits, which when it first came I had a lot of fun with this, running around the workshop with this on my head. But it's actually quite an important bit of kit. It's called Speed Kit for a very good reason, because it makes the plane go faster. It fits over the wheels. Wheels as they stand like this cause an enormous amount of drag, but if you put some aerodynamic fenders on, you end up with a shape that actually is much more efficient. There you are. You see, people put go faster stripes on their cars, they don't make them go faster. You put a Speed Kit on this, it goes an extra 10 knots, which is superb per hour. Now, I'll put those on when I'm actually at the airfield because they'll get damaged in transit. I can do another job though, and that's putting these on. Yes, join me after the break when I put the transfers on. So Pete, do you think it should go on an angle or like that?
Straight's better. That's better.
All right, well, cut me 3 small bits of masking tape.
Yep.
We're starting putting the decals on. This is a really fun job, but a little bit fiddly, so there are a few tips. These come already printed and they've got a backing on them, like that you can see, which you peel off, and the letters and the pictures on the other side. But first of all, before you start sticking, you just want to make sure you've got it all lined up right, and just using a bit of masking tape to give you the edges. Now, rather than just peel it off and stick it on when it's gooey, a little tip is to just get some water with a little bit of washing up liquid, and then gently just put a thin, very, very fine film on here, which will allow you to slip the decal around a little bit to get it in the right position before you squeegee it out. Okay. And you have a little squeegee device. I'm just trying to get all the air bubbles and all that washing up liquid water out. There, look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. The next one's going to go on here like this. This is fiddly because it's a long one, so I'll crack on with that while you take a look at Tony Palmer's Avid Speedwing top plane.
It's an Avid Speedwing, which is an American kit. It's a very simple design. It's a steel tubular frame, which is a space frame, with a fabric skin basically, which is painted in a fire retardant paint. Basically, I looked for the suitable engine. I went for the BMW motorcycle engine, which is an R100, but unfortunately the cooling was probably incorrect in that the drive's at the wrong end. So basically I had to design a new camshaft to make it, to convert the heads to the right way round for the cooling. And then there's another problem with tying the drive up to a suitable gearbox. When we first did our first test, we didn't have electric fuel pumps, so unfortunately when it was climbing out it didn't. So it came back down to the ground rather quickly because of fuel starvation. But that was soon cured with a revamped fuel system, We've got two twin fuel pumps now, twin electric pumps. We take off with both pumps working. At 1,000 feet, you then turn the second pump off, and you run with just the primary pump then. Probably building it is probably more fun than flying it in a lot of ways, because you're sitting designing pieces all the time. And for every design that you come up with, you've probably thrown 20 in the bin. But that's the fun of it, is to try and get it as simple and cheap and effective, and so it actually works as well. I think my total expenditure is probably about £8,000 or £9,000 so far. It's a very safe airplane because you've got a space frame, a big cage around you, steel. It's a tricycle undercarriage, which basically means you've got a wheel at the front and not at the back. I think it's a very simple plane. There's no flaps on it, so you haven't got to remember the flaps. You haven't got the undercarriage to come down, so you haven't got to forget the undercarriage. Would I want to build another plane? The answer is probably yes, and I'd do something totally different. Maybe a conventional American kit again in aluminium, and maybe with a diesel engine, a big turbocharged diesel for economy.
Next stop, the airfield. Of course, all planes have to have a name. Look down the side and you'll find out why this one's called Leone if you watch the end credits of the programme. Up she comes, boys. You have to round up your friends for this. Yeah, we all right? Okay. It only just fits. Now, we've got to tie this down to be able to tow it away. So it's a good time for you to take a look at my private pilot's licence flight test. Well, not my real flight test, because we can't film that for a variety of reasons. So it's actually a mock flight test, which is near enough the real thing. And I'm going to do it with the chief flying instructor here, Pete Hamlet. Wish me luck.
You're going to plan a route from Gloucester to Greenham Common to Barford St John. You'll have to pass through controlled airspace during that time. And I want you to just perform the flight as pilot in command. So you're just carrying out the flight as if I wasn't there. Yeah? Somewhere along that route, I'll ask you to turn onto a heading. This is just to simulate the instrument part of the test. Basically, the purpose of this is to actually get you off track. Yeah? But so we're doing two things there. One, we're checking that if you accidentally flew into cloud, you could fly, do a 180-degree turn and fly back out of it. And the other thing, it's actually getting you off track to check your navigation skills.
So what's the pass rate?
The actual test, the vast majority will pass first time, yeah? So you would expect sort of 80-90% to pass first time.
What are your kind of top tips for passing first time?
Relax is the number one thing. Remember, the examiner is there to make sure that you're safe to carry passengers. You wouldn't be doing the test if you weren't ready.
Now, you'll have gathered by now that learning to fly involves spending quite a lot of time in one of these. But it also involves an awful lot of schoolwork, because you've got to read your way through this little lot and then take 8 examinations and pass them. So let me take you through what I was doing while you were down the pub. Air law, basically the rules of the road in the air, where of course there are no roads, and that's what makes this subject so confusing. Typical question. On the ground, an aircraft commander overtaking another aircraft on the manoeuvring area must pass to the what of the aircraft being overtaken? Is it A, the right, B, the right or the left, or C, the left? The answer is, of course, C, the left. And what did I get? Meteorology, basically about clouds and air pressures and things like wind. A typical question. Low-level winds in the northern hemisphere that blow around the depression are drawn on surface weather charts in A, a clockwise direction,